Hey, everybody. Welcome to or welcome back to Follow the Moon Rabbit. This is the podcast where we explore the mystical, the spiritual, the taboo, and the unseen. I'm your host, Michelle, your Moon Rabbit alien, and today we're going to talk about UFOs. Yeah. All right. So, first of all, unidentified flying objects or unidentified anomalous phenomena, as they're being called now, due to their nature of being able to travel between different environments, have been all the rage lately on social media. I mean, just look at the fact that on TikTok, on YouTube, you've got these things that are flying in New Jersey and New York, and they've been showing up in Washington and Oregon. In fact, I saw a thing on YouTube a couple of weeks ago about it was a traffic control conversation between a helicopter pilot and tower about an object that they were saying that was flying at speeds that were not normal. So the thing is that these objects are nothing new. I mean, our ancestors have written stories about these things on rock walls and the tombs of their leaders for centuries. So, I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised that there's things that exist around us that are unexplainable. In fact, famous literary creator H.G. Wells wrote his depiction of an alien invasion in 1898. And that was later turned into a radio broadcast, and it was broadcasted on October 30th, 1938, as like for a Halloween gag. And it caused widespread panic in the United States. Why? Why? Are we that clueless to assume that the things that our ancestors have been talking about for centuries just somehow don't exist? Like it's some sort of fairy tale that they were making up? Here are some questions that I'd like for you to ponder. Are UFOs a physical phenomenon? Like, are they actual spaceships that are flying from other, worlds? Or are they something that are beyond material comprehension? The other thing that I think that we should consider is, could UFOs possibly represent a collective spiritual experience? So, with those things, while you're thinking about that, while you're mulling that over, I'm going to share stories. And maybe this will help or not. We'll see. So, my first story is my mom's experience. And my mom didn't actually share this experience until after I had my experience. And then that was when she felt okay sharing the fact that she saw something she couldn't explain. Hold on. So, my mom and my dad, when I was a very young person, so probably 2 or 3 years old, they lived in a mobile home park. And I want to say that it was in Atwater, California, maybe Merced, California. However, I know that it was incredibly close to Castle Air Force Base, which is located in Atwater, California. And one particular night, my mom was on her way home. And the way she explained it was that she had taken Highway 99 home. And she had to cross oncoming traffic to go onto the road that our place was on. And there at the like where the road where you turn onto the road. I'm going to try and I see it in my mind's eye. I'm going to try and verbally paint the picture. When you make your left-hand turn to cross over Highway 99 traffic, as you cross over 99, there was a sign, a large traffic sign. And so I think she said that it was probably like, I don't know, 15 feet high and maybe 10 feet wide. And so when she was making her left-hand turn, she caught out of the corner of her eye an object that was triangular in shape hovering over the sign. It didn't have the appearance of something metallic, so it didn't have like light reflecting off of it. Because at the time that she saw it, it was dark out. There was no light really reflecting off of it. It was just a different shade of black. And there were no lights on it. So from my mom's perspective, it being dark in the evening, knowing that we were really close to Castle Air Force Base, her immediate assumption was that what she was observing was a military craft doing a thing that she had never seen do before, which was hovering silently. And the way she was explaining it was that when she saw the thing, like people going, the direction that she was going on 99, they wouldn't have seen it because in the middle of 99, there's these really large bushes. And then the people that were going in the opposite direction of her, if, the sign would have been on their right-hand side or whatever, they wouldn't have seen it because there was no light reflecting upon it. So it would not have caught their attention. However, because of the way that she was turning onto the side road off of the highway, it caught her attention because it was such a massive object and it was a different shade of black that was hovering above the sign. And it was rather large. So, she's doing her best to make her turn, go through the oncoming traffic thing on, from Highway 99, and trying to keep her eye on this object that's floating and hovering without making a noise above the sign. And when she crossed over the highway onto the road, she took her eyes off of it for a split second to make sure that she was, not going off the road. And when she looked back up at it, it was gone. And that freaked her out so badly that she pulled over the car to double check to see if she could find it somewhere in the sky. And it was nowhere to be found. Absolutely nowhere. And that was the moment that she said, "Oh, sweet baby Jesus, what did I just see?" It went from, oh, this is a military thing, to that could not have been a military thing. So that's my mom's story. My next story is from my uncle's perspective. Now, when I was 18-ish, my mom and my stepdad and my little sister, they moved out of the state of California, and I decided to stay. And so I moved in with my aunt and uncle. And one night I was hanging out, I guess, if you will, with my uncle and his friend. They were, we were just watching a movie. And my uncle and his friend were partaking in some hippie gardening activities. And they were discussing their time in the military. My uncle was, hold on. I just had a thought, and I'm going to look it up really quick. And maybe they are connected. Okay. So I just remember, so I saw something a few days ago about Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book was a United States Air Force program that studied UFOs from 1952 to 1969. And this Air Force base that it was located at was the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio. The reason why I bring this up is because I was just thinking how my uncle was telling the story. My uncle was in the Air Force and his buddy was in the Navy, or it could have been reversed. Either way, when they were talking about this story, it was at an undisclosed location because, and his words verbatim, I am not allowed to discuss these things yet. And so he was telling his friend how he was at a base and I don't know what his specification of why he was there or whatever the case may be. At this base, he saw a craft come out of a hangar and from dead stop, put its nose up and go straight up. And he said, I had never seen anything domestic do that maneuver from dead stop. And my uncle's friend said, well, I think that it could have been a type of jet because I saw one of those on the Navy rig. So, now for those of you who are newer generation, if you don't know what the domestic thing means, boomers and the older generation would refer to things as being either foreign or domestic. So if your car came from Japan or something, then it was a foreign vehicle. And if you bought like a Chevy or a Ford, it was domestic because it was made here in the United States. So my uncle was pointing out that what he saw was not a typical domestic craft. It was not from the United States. And yet his friend was trying to assure him that maybe perhaps it was. He thought he saw one once before. Now that we are in this day and age, we do know that we have jets that have the ability to go full stop up. We have jets that can hover. So maybe what my mom and what my uncle were seeing were aircrafts that the government had been working on for years. And it just was top secret stuff. But now I'm going to tell you about my experience. And I have yet to find anything that matches it. So, with my experience, this was after my mom and my stepdad and my sister moved out of state, and I was still living in California. And I was visiting with, or I should say, I was hanging out with my boyfriend at his place in Morgan Hill, California. And his friend was with us. And we were partaking in some hippie gardening at his house in his vehicle. We were sitting in the driveway in his car, and the car had been backed into the driveway. So our faces were facing the west side. It was facing the coast, which would have been the Santa Cruz Mountains. And so we partake in our hippie gardening activity, and while we're sitting there, I'm just listening to them talk, and a light caught my attention out of my left side. So it would have been my 10 o'clock. And it looks like a star that's really, really bright. And it's vibrating. Like it's vibrating in the sky. It's moving in a way that I cannot articulate. It's just, it's jiggly, it's vibrating, it's not stationary, it's not pulsing, it's just moving rapidly in a way that looks like it's vibrating. And my initial thought is, I must have had too much hippie gardening stuff, because my eyeballs can't seem to focus on that incredibly bright star that's vibrating in the sky. And I looked at it and I acknowledged the fact that I'm seeing this star vibrate in the sky, and thinking I must not be here all the way, because that doesn't look right. Took a deep breath, looked down, and I continued to listen to their conversation. Boyfriend's still in the driver's seat, his friend is in the back seat. And then all of a sudden, as I'm looking downward, it catches my attention again, this time at 12 o'clock. And I'm looking at it, and it's probably, as I'm looking at it, it's just slightly above what my computer screens are. So not very high up in the sky. It's high enough that it's over the mountains. It's over the tops of the houses. It's bright, and it's doing that vibration thing again. And I'm like, wait, did it move? It had to have moved. And then it was out. It was like, boop, it was gone. Just like it stopped shining. And I'm like, okay, wait, now I know for a fact I saw what I saw. And at this point, my boyfriend's friend said something. Hey, did you guys just see that? And I said, yeah, I saw that. What was that? And he says, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, before the next words could come out of our mouths, that bright star shows up at the peak of the mountain, shoots straight up into the sky, makes a hard U-turn, and comes straight back down. And it wasn't like somebody had shot something up into the sky and then it kind of U-turned and fell down. No, it did not do that. It was a hard maneuver. Straight up, stop, U-turn, stop, down, stop. We lost our ever-loving minds. Oh my God, what was that? Did you see that? I can't believe I just saw that. There is no stinking way I just saw that thing. Did you see it stopped in the sky? It turned and then stopped and then it came down. What in the hell was that? And we're sitting there and we're expressing our disbelief that we just saw this thing that did a thing in the sky. And then we look back up and there it is, vibrating in the sky again. And oh Lord, we said, oh hell no. I don't know what that is. I don't need to know what that is. I'm not going to sit here and keep watching it. We went inside. We locked the doors. We pretended like it didn't exist because our brains in that moment could not compute what the hell was going on. So, and it looked like, I guess what people would call now are orbs. That's what it looked like. The giant light orbs, light in the sky. That's what I experienced. And then I would have to say, a few months prior to that, I had an experience with my best friend where she was visiting at my house. And as she was getting ready to leave, it was a clear sky, clear night, stars, the works, whatever. She was getting into her car. I was standing at the driver's side door saying goodbye to her. And as she was getting into the car, there was a bright light that showed up behind me. And I saw the light because it shined brightly upon the car and her face. She saw it because it was directly behind me. And it happened in like the blink of an eye. Like it happened, I blinked, it was gone. And she said, "Oh my God, what was that?" And I said, "I have no idea. It's not lightning." And she said, "No, it was not lightning." And then I looked at her car clock and noticed that 5 minutes was gone. I said, "Holy crap, it's 8:08." And she's like, "Wait, what? What happened? What happened?" I'm like, I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. We had absolutely no explanation for that. We don't know what that light was. We don't know what happened to the 5 minutes. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. And it was kind of in the same area. Like it was closer on the west side, at the foothill base of the Santa Cruz Mountains. So, yeah, we no explanation, none. So, what do you think? What are your thoughts on UFOs or these sightings that are happening? Do you think that they could be otherworldly or perhaps other dimensionally? Could they be time travelers? I want to know what your thoughts are. I want to know what your experiences are. Share your thoughts, your stories. Tell me in the comments or email them to me and I'll share them. In the meantime, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please do the thing. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Until next time, follow the moon, shoot for the stars, and know that you're loved. Mwah. Bye, besties.